Hey guys, what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rise. We're back at one of my favorite undisclosed locations with a scenic background and these seagulls that are about to attack us, but it's for a very good reason. I have this hard to hide and hard to find 2021 C8 Corvette, the Stingray. This is a coupe and it is a 3LT trim. But before we get into America's true sports car, let's talk about what's going on here. So the C8 Corvette is literally taking the auto industry by storm, not only from a sales standpoint, but also from a performance standpoint. Now, when you think about it, this platform being the first year of the mid-engine Corvette, there's been a lot of excitement around it, and that excitement has caused to more demand, which then turns into a supply and demand issue, which then means dealerships add on markup on top of the price of the vehicles. Now with this C8 Corvette being a 3LT, it's got all the goodies that you could think of. What it does not have is the Z51 performance package. But what I want to find out is that for 2021, they have raised the base price of the Corvette from $59,000 to $60,000. This one being what it is this still a performance sports car that is worth the money if on average most dealerships are adding $20,000 to $25,000 on top of sticker? Can you still say it is a value price sports car or a best bang for the buck sports car, mid-engine sports car on top of that for the price tag of that extra money? Let's go ahead into the Stingray, dive in, see what makes it so special and unique, and see if we could answer that question. Let's check it out. Right off the bat, Accelerate Yellow. Very, very bright. You're not going to be able to hide this from anybody. I think personally they should have went with the title On Throttle Yellow. That would have been really just the perfection of this mid-engine sports car. But starting up at the front of the business is my favorite part of any C8 Corvette. The designers did a great job keeping that overall style of the Corvette lineage, but of course having less real estate since the engine is in the middle of the vehicle, as I almost fall over, but we're gonna keep on rolling. Headlights, love the shape, the style. You got your LED headlight in there with your daytime running lamp. These headlights really set it off perfectly, and you could see that direct connection to the C7, how they took the C7 and then changed it up a little bit. As we drop down, you are gonna get that very GM specific carbon flash metallic. I love this so much more than just regular gloss black. This portion is DOT required for pedestrian safety, so no body parts or appendages are gonna go into these fully functional, massive air intakes on each corner. So there's tons of heat exchangers at the front of the business. We gotta bring some nice cool air, so they're nice, wide, and open for that. And even though this is DOT required, it still looks really, really good. Makes it the front end look aggressive. We come across the front end of the business. Since this is a non-Z51 equipped Stingray, there's no front splitter. I actually think it kind of cleans up the look, especially at the back end of the business. The funny thing is without that extra aero, there's less drag, which means this has a higher top speed than a C8 Corvette that is Z51 performance equipped. Love the way it's got the Corvette name right up front, that carbon flash metallic, everything functional. So nothing fake at the front end of the business on this C8 Corvette. You got that iconic cross flags. It goes all the way back to 1953, the first year of the Corvette. What's funny is that we talk about with the C8 Corvette, one of my zonks is that there's no manual transmission. If you go back to 1953, there wasn't a manual transmission either. It only came with an automatic, which is kind of crazy to think that connection from the first year to this 2021. Now, when we get up onto the front, this is a front mounted trunk. Love the nice sharp edges and angles, really gives it a stealth fighter look. A C8 Corvette that's black has such a stealth fighter look to it, but like I said, I think for keeping the Corvette identity at the front, they did a great job. Plus, these nice high peaked fenders give you such a great reference point behind that D-shaped steering wheel to allow you to hit your marks on a racetrack, on an autocross track, or your favorite twisty road. Now, when we come around the bend, we do have some optional wheels. These are that painted carbon flash metallic, so it's gonna match all the trim on the vehicle in a very nice way with that metallic. You got even the blacked out center caps with the cross flags. Checkered flag means this is America's sports car, and obviously this is a Chevrolet product, that's why we have that. We also have option with the painted calipers. So we have those nice yellow 6-piston calipers, gonna give you great braking capability. If you want more braking capability, you could go more and go Z51 package, because that's one of the things that gets upgraded are the brakes. You automatically get the GM Performance exhaust and a limited slip diff. This particular 3LT does have the magnetic ride suspension. All 4 corners is gonna read the road every nanosecond to give you the perfect compression and rebound damping as you're going down the road. But up front, we have 19-inch wheels. They are wrapped with those all-season Pilot Sport, all-season tires. Gonna give you some decent grip. Also gonna give you some nice wear capabilities. And you're looking at up front 245 on the width and a nice 40 series sidewall. I love the calipers with our Accelerate yellow. And not the biggest fan of the style of the wheel, but I like it with the painted carbon flash metallic and of course that nice machined aluminum outer edge. Now, as we come down the side, you're getting all those sharp angles. Side mirrors, you got your turn signals built in. Love the way they do the design that flows into the rear of the vehicle. You have the carbon flash metallic on that air intake. This is gonna bring air into the radiators, into the engine compartment, into all the cooling for everything. This being a coupe does have that removable target top. All of them are target tops, or you go hard top convertible. First time ever in the history of the Corvette to have a hard top convertible, and of course a mid-engine. The thing I love about the coupe is you're gonna be able to see that beautiful engine, how everything kind of flows back. There is a large piece of gloss black here. I wish that this was actually just glass. I think that that would allow you to see a little bit more of the goodies that lurk behind you while you're driving. But as we come towards the rear, you can see all those beautiful edges. One of the things that kind of turns me off styling wise is this major gap that's needed for the hatch that comes up. I wish that there was a way to kind of taper this in and bring the line over, because what happens is when you're sitting behind the wheel and you look in your rearview mirror or the side mirror, you just see a major gap here between. Obviously it's needed for opening and closing, but from an aesthetic standpoint, it would have been nicer if they could have tucked it in somewhere else. But the rear glass really looks like it came off the back of a Lamborghini Huracan or Huracan Performante. You're gonna get some nice wire mesh with the carbon flash metallic, the way they angled everything. The bad news is when it rains, the water does kind of flood the engine compartment. If you notice that camera up top, this does have the digital rear view mirror because it is a 3LT. And of course, this is a Stingray. So we got the Stingray at the tail end of the business. Because it's a non-Z51 equipped, you don't have that 2 basket handle, kind of awkward looking rear wing. I do love the GM Performance wing, which is higher. They started making those again because they found a new supplier. Stingray, let's talk about that for a second. The first year that a Corvette had the Stingray name was 1963. Then it disappeared in 1976, but then it came back in 2014, which was the first year of the C8 Corvette. Now, as we drop down, I'm starting to like a little bit more the taillights. They kind of grow on you. I do miss just the regular round or oval taillights. That really was the classic Corvette look. You do have carbon flash metallic with functional venting at the back, which is a very nice touch, and I love those angles and curves. They went back to the separate quad exhaust. You have 2 staggered tips on each side, kind of that squared off design. And as we come into the center section here, the Corvette badge looking good, carbon flash metallic. Work your way down. Functionality with the wire mesh and a massive rear diffuser. It's growing on me a little bit more. At first, when I saw it, I thought it looked like a Camaro that was squished and stretched. I think without the wing, I kind of like it more. But why don't we go ahead, let's pop this rear engine hatch and take a look at that 6.2 liter naturally aspirated V8. All right, guys, time to get into the engine compartment. Unlike any other Corvette before the C8, you hit there, you lift it up. Now, before we talk about the engine, let's talk about the actual cargo area. You have enough room here for a full set of golf clubs. I don't know who goes golfing with their C8 Corvette, but you have that room. Of course, We got some Twinkies back here. 2 Rady's Rides Patreon members left us a box of Twinkies. TJ and Jacob, thank you for showing that off. And then you have the official Twinkie cargo net. Look at that. Go down your favorite twisty road and no amount of G-forces is gonna move that box of Twinkies. Now, when we look at the engine compartment, before we talk about the engine, look at the suspension. You can see the wires leading to the shock absorbers. That's for that magnetic ride suspension. This also has the optional carbon fiber dress appearance package. So you dress up that engine compartment, and then smack dab in the center, lo and behold, is the new LT2. That's what they're calling that, naturally aspirated V8 LT2. It's 6.2 liter V8, 490 horsepower, 465 pound-feet of torque. It's mated to a 1 transmission selection only, a 8-speed Tremec DCT automated gearbox. You're looking at 0 to 60 in about 3 seconds. Top speed on a non-Z51 is 194 miles an hour. Quarter mile, 11.6 at 120 miles an hour. MPGs, 15 in the city, 27 on the highway. I really like the job that they did with really showcasing that engine compartment, having the Corvette name on the top of the engine cover and the rear glass, something that we only saw on Ferraris, McLarens, and Lamborghinis. But why don't we go ahead, let's fire up this V8 and hear what it sounds like. All right, guys, we're inside this 3LT optioned C8 Corvette Stingray. I know you're saying, well, Joe, it's been mission impossible. I can't find a C8 Corvette. Half the time, if I do, or more than half the time, there is that markup. So being realistic, let's take markup into consideration on the pricing. And I don't blame you, trust me. It is hard to find one that doesn't have markup. So this one with the magnetic ride suspension, Accelerate Yellow, Strike Yellow accents, including the seatbelts, the brake calipers, the GM Performance exhaust, that whole combination of different trims and features, you're looking at MSRP $80,000. Now let's add another, on average, dealerships are doing it, people are paying for it, $20,000 to $25,000. So basically you're looking around a C8 Corvette that's around 100 grand, 105 grand. Let's see what you get for the money, to the door panel. So this is where you're gonna see some of those extra options. You got the strike yellow stitching. I think it's so good to have that on this particular one with the exterior color. Obviously the best Corvette interior, period. You got the cool gray finish that you'll see more of when we get to the dash. And then of course, when it comes to door pockets, very, very small. So you'll probably be able to fit maybe 6 or 7 Twinkies, or since this Corvette looks like a big sparkly banana, you could probably put 2 bananas in there. Other than that, it's gonna have to be on your lap. Now going from the door panel to the dash, this is really where it feels like a banana. Like you pull back the banana peel with that cool gray finish. I like it though, because it kind of breaks up the dark material in here. Wouldn't be the one that I would own, but I get it. I would see why somebody would option this. But you see all the great stitching, the silver finish. My zonk are these guys here. These little tabs to adjust the AC vents, they just feel really cheap. I almost feel like if somebody wasn't careful enough, you could break one off, and then what do? Now you're SOL. This is the Corvette where you got the largest divider to separate the passenger from the driver. All the AC controls, of course, we got ventilated seats, heated seats, dual climate control. All the AC controls are gonna be up here. And what we have infotainment-wise is that 8-inch system. Now, GM does a great job with their infotainment systems, the graphics, the clarity. It does have navigation, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. My question is, and the zonk, why didn't they use up more of this space? They got all this dead space around where that infotainment is. I do like the silver finishes, just like on the door panel, nice silver finishes everywhere. They did use an AC vent in here. Let me go ahead and throw it into reverse. There's your backup camera, so clear. Obviously it's a touchscreen. We're out front. Look at that. Every which way you could see this Corvette to make sure that you're not gonna put a scratch on her, put it back into park. This does have the lift system, which you lift the front end of the vehicle, and you got that forward-facing camera, like I said. Real easy to operate. We shut the traction control off. There's some of that Alcantara. That's an option on this one with the strike yellow stitching. You got your mode selector knob under there. Wonderful leather. Open this bad boy. 2 cup holders, but you're not drinking a damn thing in my Corvette. And then here is your Corvette key fob. I'm glad they give it a nice Corvette specific. You got remote start. Pop the trunk, pop the frunk, play your red horn. Open this up. It's hard to see for you guys, but there is some felt lining, so you can put 3 Twinkies in here, USB-C, USB, and an aux jack. Not going to scratch your Twinkie. And then these seats definitely fit the whole look of the car. We have the strike yellow seat belt, strike yellow bolstering. It's got the carbon fiber one-piece backs. There's that cool gray finish all the way down. Nice bolstering, of course, full electric for the passenger and the driver. And you got one of the sexiest headliners in all the auto industry. This looks so top notch. And then watch this, the digital rear view mirror. Really great quality. But why don't you come over to the business end? I want to show you behind this D-wrapped shaped steering wheel in the C8 Corvette. All right, guys, here we are, business time. You do have that nice, beautiful aluminum sill plate with the Stingray logo there and the cross flags, looking classy. You have all your seat controls, easy to get to, nice bolstering. These seats are so comfy, so supportive. They knocked it out of the park. And we have the Twinkie yellow seat belts. These add an extra 5 to 50 horsepower, depending on how many Twinkies you ate before you got into the C8 Corvette. Steering wheel, D-shaped. It's a little bit of a mixture of Alcantara with some leather. I'm liking the strike yellow finishes and how you got that leather with the Alcantara material. We have the Z button, stands for Zora Duntub, the real father of the Corvette. Put that in there and that GM Performance exhaust is gonna sing and everything else is gonna be ready to rock and roll. We have metal paddles, not plastic, but large metal paddles behind the steering wheel. Go up and down that 8-speed Tremec. And then, of course, we have electric tilting and telescoping steering wheel and a head-up display. But look at that beautiful digital dash. Love the graphics, the font, the nice large tachometer there. Really just works perfectly with how everything falls into play. Of course, you got a heated steering wheel. We got the memory seat settings and everything else in here. I'm 6 feet tall. I feel great. Give me a helmet. I'm ready to go do a track day. But before we do, let's check out the frunk and see how much room we have in the C8 Corvette. All right, guys, one of the great things about the C8 Corvette is that you have that 15 cubic feet of space in the engine compartment. Well, guess what? This mid-engine sports car has a frunk, a front-mounted trunk with cargo space. And not all mid-engine sports cars have a frunk. An Acura NSX, right off the top of my head, that one does not have a front-mounted trunk, but it's real easy to get to. You just hit the button, lights flash, it pops up. You're looking at 2.4 cubic feet of space, and lo and behold, check it out. 2 Ladies Rides Patreon members, Brett and Zazarus, left us our C8 Corvette yellow Twinkies. Box of Twinkies, same color. The best news is that you could put about 50 boxes of Twinkies up front and even more out back. But you know what? It's not about the storage. And on this one, it's not about the Twinkies. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's take this C8 Corvette for an on-throttle spin. All right, guys, we're in the C8 Corvette Coupe. Obviously, we're talking about, is this a car that 3LT MSRPs for a little more than $80,000 with dealer markup? Is it worth $100,000 or more? I have it in manual shift mode. We got the Zora mode engaged. If you're ready, I'm ready. On throttle, here we go, yeah! Woo! Nice. Love the sound of that V8. Fast shift from that Tremec. Nice. Good. Yeah! Wow. So let's talk about what's going on here. This one being a 3LT, I'm missing some of that goodness that comes when you check off the Z51 package. Yes, higher top speed on this non-Z51 because you're going to have the faster straight line with less drag, but definitely the goodies that they bring to the table on the Z51 package are worth it. I think when it comes to handling, the Z51 equipped C8 corners a little flatter. You're still getting that great V8 exhaust, and it still is quieter than a C7, but overall, you can't complain about the performance of this C8 Corvette, whether you want the engine in the middle or if you want your Corvette engine up front. The question is, as many of you are aware, trying to track one of these down at MSRP is nearly impossible. I mean, you either got to know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody, or you just have a good connection at one of your local Chevy dealerships, or there are a handful out there that refuse to add any markup on it. So if we're looking at the majority of dealerships are adding markup, and that's where you're at, say at $105,000, if we said $25,000 markup, because that seems to be what you see at most of them, is between 20 and 25,000. Is this C8 worth 100 grand? I'm still thinking at 100 grand, you're getting a lot of performance. Now, the bad news is, obviously, when you're paying over sticker, you could find yourself eventually in a situation when the cars depreciate, you're gonna be that much more into it, which will cause you to be that much more upside down. But as of right now, people are flipping their C8 Corvettes. Those that are getting them at MSRP or near it are flipping them very quickly and making a profit on them. So, you know, that's another big question. Should you hold on to one of these and enjoy it, or should you use it and flip it now, and then once the excitement calms down, maybe, I don't know, 2023, maybe then go and get your C8 Corvette. Obviously, the other trims are going to be a big issue as well. Z06, all the different hybrid setup, the Zora edition and all that, the E-Ray. But let's do some more on throttle. I'm going to come to a dead stop. I have it in manual shift mode. I like to use these metal paddles. The Tremec 8-speed is amazing. Here we go, on throttle, yeah, woo! Street Shit Tire's a happy tire. Nice, look at this. Woohoo! Brakes feel good, steering input is very direct. Super smooth. Obviously, with that naturally aspirated V8 power, the torque delivery is so linear and smooth, and it's crazy. Push rod V8s, man. Everybody has moved on to obviously quad cam engines and everything, but or overhead cam engines, whether it be dual cam. There used to be a single cam overhead setup, but they really are making the magic happen with this push rod V8 for sure. Inside, 3LT gives you the best of everything, and the way that this one has been spec'd out is a little bit, like I mentioned, like a banana, but I'm digging it. I mean, it's different. People look. If you want attention, this is the color definitely to check off. All right, guys, here we go once again. Second gear, on throttle, yeah! The brakes. Balance is good. I'm telling you, the front end grip of this thing is just ridiculous, and having that engine behind you and projecting you off every corner, it's a really wild sensation. It would be interesting to know what it would be like to drive this car with a manual, though. I know it won't be faster, but definitely be a lot more fun. Even though I am having fun, it'd be even more fun. And what's wrong with that, right? but the way everything is spec'd out in here, that top trim, I like looking into the engine compartment, seeing some of the nice carbon fiber that we got. You do have the Magna Ride suspension, which is nice. But boy, what a really amazing setup on this Corvette, the C8 Corvette. Wow. All right, guys, one more time for you. Definitely one more time for me. Still shifting manually. I love these paddles. Love the steering wheel, that D-shaped steering wheel. Here we go. Are you ready? I'm ready. On throttle, yeah! Yeah! Remember, a screeching tire is a happy tire. The brakes. Nice fast downshifts. Here we go. Nice. The balance, good balance. Where's my towel? Oh my God. This thing, I'm telling you, I know that I personally rather have the engine up front, but there's no denying the performance of this vehicle. And even with the markup, it's still giving you performance of cars that cost twice as much. Wow. Thank you for letting me share this with you. Great to have you on the on-throttle experience. We're gonna get back to our parking lot and wrap this one up. So I'll see you in a split second. All right, guys, it's been another heck of a day with this C8 Corvette. Definitely want to thank Kyle and everybody over at Chevrolet for allowing Rady's Rides access to this mid-engine sports car. I don't know. If you look at the MSRP, $80,000, we tack on another $20,000 to $25,000. Is this C8 Corvette worth $100,000 plus? I think if you look at the performance numbers, you're definitely still getting a lot of sports car for the money. It's going to be interesting to see what eventually happens with the markups, with the value of the C8 Corvette compared to previous generations, and what is it going to be like once the Z06 is here. But if you want to keep seeing more of this mid-engine sports car, the first time ever in Chevrolet history, leave a comment in the comment section. If you're new and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Rady's Rides family. If you want to help us keep making great content for you, there's two ways to do it. Click the first link, become a Rady's Rides Patreon member. Click the second link, get yourself some Rady's Rides merch. Got to give it up to the queen of the camera. She's out here working this bright yellow Twinkie of a Corvette like a champ. Thank you, Lori, for all that you do. Show her some love in the comment section. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.